Hello, friend. Zoom.us is a popular platform for hosting virtual meetings and for recording podcast interviews. I'm Jen Eads, the head broad in charge at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, and many of my clients started recording their podcast interviews using Zoom.us because it's simple to use, you can use it for Mac or PC, and if somebody still needs to dial in on a telephone, you can still record that conversation. Now, you're never going to get that pristine NPR audio quality from a Zoom recording, but in this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you sound better, whether it's a podcast interview or just a virtual Zoom meeting. Tip number 1, the space that you're in has a big impact on your audio quality. Sit quietly in the space where you're going to record for 60 seconds and pay attention to what you hear in your environment. Is your refrigerator running? No, seriously. If your refrigerator's running, that can be a distracting noise. And depending on what time of year it is, the heat may kick on or the AC might fire up. So be mindful of that distracting noise. Ideal recording spaces are filled with sound-absorbing material like carpet and pillows and rugs, and walk-in closets actually make ideal recording studios. Cars and minivans also make great recording studios if you're in a jam. Hopefully just not a traffic jam. Tip number 2, use an external microphone, like this one, with headphones plugged into the bottom so you can monitor the conversation. This baby is the Samson Q2U, and as you can see, I've got my headphones plugged into the bottom of the microphone. You want to wear headphones because you don't want your voice coming out of your computer speakers and feeding back into your microphone and creating an echo. And if you don't have an external microphone, no worries. I bet you've got a pair of earbuds laying around. Just make sure that they have the built-in microphone on them. And you're going to sound way better than if you're just using the built-in microphone and speaker on your computer. Tip number 3, mute yourself when you're not speaking. That's going to help prevent any distracting background noises coming through on the recording. So if you're actually editing these interviews for your podcast, that's going to save you lots of headaches. Just remember to unmute yourself before you speak. Do you have a horror story about when somebody should have pressed the mute button? If you do, leave it in the comment section down below. Tip number 4, to help prevent with calls dropping and audio getting all garbled up and your face freezing on someone's screen, shut down all unnecessary apps. And if at all possible, plug directly into your internet instead of connecting through Wi-Fi. If you're recording this specifically for a podcast and you don't intend to repurpose any of the video, then don't even turn it on. Keeping the video off will significantly improve the audio quality of your recording. Tip number 5, stay engaged in the call. If at all possible, try not to have any other apps open, and don't be responding to emails and tippy-tapping on your computer because all of that tippy-tapping comes through the recording, and it's distracting. And it sounds kind of rude if you're not actually paying attention to your guest. So let's recap these 5 tips that are going to help you sound like a rock star on your next Zoom call. Number 1, pay attention to the space that you're recording in. Make sure it's quiet and there's no distracting background noise. Number 2, use an external microphone and headphones to monitor the conversation. Number 3, mute yourself when you're not speaking. Number 4, turn off the video if you don't need it, and if possible, try to hardwire plug into your internet connection. And lastly, number 5, stay engaged in the conversation. Try to avoid the distracting tippy-tap. You can get the free guide that I've created to all of my favorite podcasting tools and resources when you go to brassybroad.com, and I will have a link in the video description below. Subscribe to my channel and watch the playlist that I've created that will walk you step by step through how to record your podcast using Zoom.us.